So, as you mentioned, my name is Ritesh. I'm the founder of a company called BuildScience, and what I want to talk about is the power of saying yes. And I'm hoping that by the end of this presentation, or this talk, it'll inspire one of you to say yes and do something great. So, our company, BuildScience, is a company that has built a software platform called Strata, which is an operating system that helps property managers put their buildings on autopilot. Buildings like this one. Actually, in fact, this building is our first customer, was our first customer. So our software currently runs a lot of this building right now. But I'm not here to talk about BuildScience or building automation or anything like that today. What I'm here to talk about is the power of saying yes, and I'm hoping that I can inspire you to do more of that in your life. So, growing up in Toronto, Silicon Valley and software were really not on my mind. You know, it was the first thing that I could think of. And this is despite the fact that I've been programming since I was, really little. And I went to the University of Waterloo for electrical engineering, and I was actually really focused on trying to become a doctor. I even wrote my MCATs. I did a master's in medical imaging. I was really gung-ho about that. In 2012, I was coming up on writing my master's thesis, and I felt really like I was slogging through writing my thesis, and it was just really difficult to get through it, and I was just not motivated. And at this point, everyone was pressuring me to finish, just get it done, you can move on to something else later. It just wasn't happening, so I started procrastinating like everyone else would do. And I procrastinated by coding apps. I just went back to coding. And it was at this point that I had a friend that was going through Y Combinator at the time, and he mentioned to me that he had an iOS app that he was looking to convert to Android. And so I talked to my friends and family, my girlfriend at the time about it, and they're like, "You're crazy, just focus on the masters, like worry about this later." And even I thought the same thing. I'm like, I should just do what I'm supposed to be doing. But of course, when the friend asked, I said yes. And over the next few weeks, I worked with his co-founders, helped build up a really simple app, and went to San Francisco to help them finish it up. And it was amazing. It was life-changing. I realized that I was wasting my time doing what I didn't love, and that coding was actually what made me happy. And so that app, that Android app, played a very small role in helping my friend build one of YC's most successful companies. And I actually took the money from that app that he paid me to write it and used it to plan a very memorable proposal to my girlfriend, who's now my wife. And so, thanks. I wasn't expecting the awe, but okay, thanks. And I just wanted to highlight that simple word yes really changed things in that moment. And it made me realize that I had to move to the Valley. So I started looking for jobs. And one of the jobs that got posted on Hacker News was a position for a company called Luma Camera. And they wanted an Android developer, and I saw their website, saw their demo video. It was amazing. This was back in 2012, 13, on the iPhone 4, video stabilization, like completely unreal. I was blown away. And I come from an imaging background, so I knew how groundbreaking it was. So I emailed these guys, and I said, "I really want to work with you. I'm working on this, and let's get together." Turns out that the company was run by three brothers that were actually from Toronto, and they were coming home for Christmas. And so we said, let's meet up, let's chat. And we decided that, you know what, we're gonna work together. I'm gonna work on contracts starting in February after I finish my master's thesis, which I didn't finish. And that was it. February came, I moved to the Valley, worked with them on contract. It was amazing. It didn't take long for the Valley, the Bay, and these guys at the company just to sweep me off my feet. I loved the work I was doing. I loved the area. It was just amazing. And my then fiance, was talking to her every night, telling her about this, how much I loved it, and she was just really happy for me. And so we started talking about this, and it was temporary because it was a contract. We didn't think it was going to be a big permanent move. But then friends in the Bay Area started getting wind that I was there, and they all started trying to persuade me, move to the Bay, move to the Bay. And they took me out to lunch at Facebook, Google, and it just made me realize that there's this whole world of software engineering outside of Toronto that I had no idea about. And so at this point, the founders of Luma actually offered me a job and to become their first employee. And I didn't want to take it because I knew that despite how great it was, and I really wanted to work with them, I was afraid of what I was leaving back in Toronto. Like my girlfriend, my fiance was here, and she had her own life here, and I was just nervous about what that would mean for us. But she was really supportive and said, you know what, if it makes you happy, you should take it. So I said yes. Of course, I started working for them as their first employee in May 2013, and like any other startup, things move rapidly because a month later, we were acquired by Instagram. So in June, we moved over to the Instagram team. We started helping them deploy, build out Instagram video. And that was basically how in 6 months I experienced the entire life cycle of a startup. That's the power of saying yes. So at this point, I'm in the Bay Area and I'm just loving life. I'm on the Facebook campus, everything's great. Love my job, everything's great. Come home for Thanksgiving in October. And love the city, Toronto's home. It just felt good to be back. A colleague asked to meet up and wanted to talk about some things. And he was actually working on this building, RBC Water Park Place. And he was looking for just guidance on software that they could use to showcase the building. After talking to him for a while over drinks, I said, you know what? You really need an interface that brings it all together into one. He's like, does something like that exist? I said, probably, but it would be better if you built it. Could you do it? Might have been the beers, but I said yes. Over the next few months, we hammered out a contract. I quit my job at Instagram and moved back to Toronto to start BuildScience. And it was a huge flurry of opportunities after that. We helped launch this building. We built our platform out. We applied for and got into Y Combinator, secured some seed funding to help build it out even more. And now we're in about 6 buildings across Canada. So yeah, saying yes was pretty good. So what I'm hoping that you take away from this is that saying yes was really beneficial to me, but it can be really powerful for you too. Just think about the times in your life when yes changed it. So when somebody said, yes, I'll hire you, or yes, I'll buy your product, that was life-changing. That moment opened up a wealth of opportunities for you. And now that you know how powerful that word is, I encourage you to say yes more often. Say yes to hiring an employee. Say yes to giving opportunities to people that need them. Say yes to equality. Say yes to free speech. Say yes to inclusivity. Say yes to that slice of chocolate cake. Just say yes. Thank you. So I'm happy to take questions. Yes or no questions.
Hi, that was really inspirational. I have an app idea. Would you say yes?
Yes, I'll take a look at it.
All right, I'll contact you later. Thank you.
Over there. Where?
Is he asking a question?
Oh, you go for it.
Hi, this is unrelated, but can we know how you proposed to your wife?
Sorry, I missed that. Sorry.
It's unrelated, but can we know how you proposed to your wife? Did she say yes?
I really shouldn't tell this story. So my wife was planning a trip to Europe with her sister, and basically I schemed it with her sister to fly into Rome on their last day of their trip and surprise her in Rome in a park and proposed to her. I had a photographer lined up to take her engagement photos right afterwards. It was pretty special.
Yeah. I'm just curious what the process. Okay. I'll just stand up. Sorry. I'm just curious what the process was getting into Y Combinator, and why did you choose Y Combinator, let's say, over Techstars or over the DMZ or some of the other options that are out there?
That's a good question. I'm going to state my opinion and just realize that it's my opinion. So Techstars and the other incubators, I've know quite a few people that have been through those programs, but if you look at the statistics and the track record of Y Combinator, they're still clearly at the front of the pack. It's sort of like going to Harvard for law or UC Berkeley or something like that, right? Like it's just that level of distinction. They're all great universities, but you'll still get a bit more prestige coming out of Harvard. So that's why I applied to Y Combinator. But I also, that process of applying to the program came about organically. So a lot of people, I do have a lot of friends that have been through Y Combinator, and they came to me and encouraged me to apply. It wasn't even on my thought process to do that accelerator. It's better to apply to any accelerator when it's not required for your business. So we applied to Y Combinator with the thinking that things are going great. We have a great product. We have great product market fit. We know the transition to continue growing the company. Getting into Y Combinator would be fantastic. It would help us quite a bit. But you know what? The company will still survive without Y Combinator. And it's the truth with any other accelerator program too. The accelerator program is to accelerate your business, not to create it or jumpstart it. You should already have that foundation there.
Hi. So, someone who's been to both the Valley and been here in Toronto, what do you see as the biggest difference between being in a startup in California or being in a startup here over in Toronto, and what are the different challenges in different cities?
So, what are the differences between being a startup in Silicon Valley versus a startup here in Toronto? The fact is that Silicon Valley is still this epicenter of the startup and technology space. So you're going to have a lot larger concentration of technology companies in an area. That means a lot of like-minded individuals, a lot of talent, a lot of access to capital. It's just a network effect that exists in that area. That I don't see that changing anytime in the future. And I think it's a bit of a fallacy for not just Toronto, any city to try to compete with that. That's like saying, let's make a new design mecca other than Milan or Paris. Like, why? If you're in those fields, those are the areas you would go to. That being said, there are great designers that don't live in Paris and Milan, and they live in other cities in the world. Just like there are great startups in Toronto, great startups in New York. You don't have to be in a particular place. The difference with Toronto, though, is a lot of what has been highlighted in previous presentations is that we have a lot of other industries in the area that we can draw from, and that's what makes us unique, and that's something that's missing in the Valley. The Valley has the ability to create these companies, but they incubate them in a way, and then what happens is when they get out of the Valley, it doesn't really come to fruition. Whereas with Toronto, you have that exposure automatically. Also, the multiculturalism, the different ideas that you get here, it's just unparalleled anywhere else in the world. I've been to plenty of places, and Toronto is pretty special. That's why I came back.